disappointment that was yesterday at the trade deadline with both teams not doing anything. And let's start with your Jets, BT. We talked about it yesterday. You were hoping for Davante Adams or a big wide receiver or somebody on the offensive line. And yet Joe Douglas treated this trade deadline like Billy Epler did a couple years ago and came out with nothing. And maybe it's because he doesn't believe in this team as much as you do. Maybe he's thinking, you know what, the right move wasn't there. We'll go all in the offseason, which I kind of understand because I don't think the Jets are that good. Why go all in for a top wide receiver, even if they're available, if it's not going to make that much of a difference?
I'm very disappointed today. I got to tell you. You know, you look at the teams that historically struggle in this city. We all know who they are. Think about those teams, right, in your own mind right now. How many times over any given 10-year window do they really have a chance to do something? Either because the players that they draft aren't good enough, or the money that they spent isn't well spent, or injuries like Edwin Diaz and maybe Aaron Rodgers and others derail tantalizing possibilities. The Jets needed to go for it yesterday. Now, I understand that you can't force somebody to make a trade that they don't want to make a trade, but I look at this Jets team, but if Joe Douglas is thinking that, then Joe Douglas is out of his mind, because there's no way that Joe Douglas is thinking what you thought, what you just said. Joe Douglas
Why
is
not?
Because that's a loser mentality.
But he didn't go and didn't get anybody.
I understand that, but it's one thing to process his team through the prism of, well, there's not the right trade to be made, which is probably the case in terms of what you'd have to give up. And the other aspect is, well, I'm not going to make a trade because I don't think we're good enough. I mean, there's no way Joe Douglas is thinking that. I mean, the Jets right now.
Well, Joe Douglas, do you think he believes in the quarterback?
I think he starting to believe in the quarterback coming back, which we'll get to later, which he addressed for the first time. That's Aaron Rodgers.
Well,
See, this is what I'm confused about. I need some help on this. I understand the pushback. I got some tweets and we got some calls on this yesterday. I was very direct. Go for Davante Adams. Okay. No deal was struck. You got to move on. But a lot of you pushed back and said, why would you go and get another outstanding receiver when the only good receiver you have now barely gets the football based on the quarterback situation? Okay. But that might be applicable to now. Okay. Yeah, it might be. But anything that the Jets did big, if they were to do something big yesterday, doesn't adversely impact next year, because Rodgers is coming back. I think he's coming back this year.
Well,
he's definitely coming back next year.
You're talking about Adams specifically,
Yeah,
though.
so, if they would have given up a number one pick, and I understand it couldn't be this year's number one because it's still tied into the Rodgers, a future number one or a pair of twos for Davante Adams in 2025, whatever, don't tell me that it couldn't help you this year and next year. There were moves to be made that really could have put the Jets in a better position this year and next year.
Well, what about ones that just could have put him in a better position this year? Worry about next year. And I think Joe Douglas looks at this team, and look, the reports are he tried, but there just wasn't anything there that he felt worth it, right? He looks at this team as a 4-3 football team with a backup quarterback, that the offense has struggled. It's not worth going all in right now. Next year may be a different story, or for a move that could help both this year and next year, maybe that's a different story too. Maybe that move wasn't there, but you're telling me they couldn't find a wide receiver to try to make this team better for this year? He didn't feel like whatever the pick he'd have to give up for that was worth investing in a 4-3 team with a backup quarterback that maybe he doesn't believe in as much as you do.
Maybe. I mean, I can't read his mind. I just can say that I wish he would have done something here. And let's also identify this year, the Jets team that we thought we had coming in on paper with Rodgers, with Corey Davis, with Hardman. I mean, all of a sudden, not only, and I don't know that it was going to be, this Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Roger Craig, Taylor kind of offense anyway, but I think it was going to be very formidable. Those were with the pieces they had coming into the year. Corey Davis retired, can't control that.
Hardman stinks.
No, they didn't use him properly. Yeah, he's gone.
Cook's washed up.
Yeah. I mean,
Shocker.
So it's, but they didn't add to. I don't understand. This is just a missed opportunity. It really, truly is, and I'm frustrated by this. Doesn't mean I don't think they can beat the Chargers. I do. Doesn't mean I don't think they won't beat the Raiders. I do. They're in shambles, right?
Well, who knows? Maybe they get better with Antonio Pierce. We'll get into more of that a little bit later on.
Yeah, but they
you
still
just don't
have
know.
the quarterback situation that they have. I believe strongly the Jets will win that game, but I've been saying that I thought they'd win 3 straight, even though I thought they'd lose the Eagles game. You know where I stand on the Jets. I thought the Jets would be in this from minute one, going back to week 1, the day after they beat the Bills with the whole unkillable thing. I don't understand. The windows are so small in the NFL. You know, you got to have everything lined up. There's years where we thought we had everything lined up. Bang. Testaverde goes down. Here we are.
Right.
It's November 1st.
But you had everything lined up.
I understand that.
And Rodgers went down.
Yeah, but I get that for sure. But when Vinny went down, you know, they finished 8-8, but the season bottomed out quick before they were able to stabilize and put up a decent showing. The season is in front. Like, it's not like, listen, if they were 2-5 or 3, even 3-5, I'd say makes no sense right now. Just kind of navigate the rest of the season, see what happens,
But how about
and we'll get ready for next year. You're 4-3.
Right, but how about the way that they've gotten these 4 wins?
Doesn't matter to me. That's where you and I disagree. I don't care.
But how does that not matter?
Okay, so if it does matter.
Like, if you're Joe Douglas watching this team, logically speaking,
Yeah.
are you going to be like, oh, yeah, we got to go all in, we could win a Super Bowl? Or you're like, hey, you know what? We've done a nice job being competitive here. Maybe we can make the playoffs if I make the right move or two, if that move is there to be made.
Yeah.
This is not a team that without Aaron Rodgers can win a Super Bowl. And I got news for you. Even with Aaron Rodgers, I'm not so sure that this team can win a Super Bowl. And then we talked about it, obviously, this year. Even if Rodgers does come back, he's not going to be what you would expect him to be. But anyway, the Jets just aren't that good. Like, they can't run the football. There are still questions about the offensive line, the play calling on offense, the head coach. There are issues. I don't even know if Aaron Rodgers could fix this thing.
Well, the Jaguars almost got to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, ironically with Nathaniel Hackett. Blake Bortles, right? Who probably was worse than Zach. And that defense, not that year, he had a pretty good year that year, but leading up to that, and what was Blake? I think 3rd overall. Leading up to that run, I mean, the Jaguars defense was good. Ain't the Jets. So, like, see, I think where you and I are going to different streets here. It's not that I'm not out of my mind. I know that they're going to have to be very fortunate. I know that. But the circumstances of the season would have dictated to me, I'm going for it. Like, I am going for it. If the Chiefs were 7-0 and hanging 35 on everybody and the Bills looked like they did 2 years ago, you know, and some other teams that we thought might be better, I'm probably laying out saying, all right, you know, we got a sneaky competitive season. That's good for now. It's a step up. Nonsense. It's not good enough for now. Right. You never know.
Well, you think they're better than the GM thinks that they are.
Well, but you're saying that.
Well,
you don't know that.
I'm just trying to use common sense.
You're right that I believe the Jets are pretty good.
Right. I know how you value them, and then I know how I value them looking at a 4-3 team that's done a really nice job keeping their season afloat here, but really a team that's like not that good overall. Defense, yes. Special teams, yes. I don't think they're well coached. I mean, I think that's on full display. I don't even know if that's up for debate. The quarterback play has not been very good. I know that that's come up for debate, whether you break down the all-22 or what. But, I mean, I don't particularly think Zach Wilson is very good. He's also a guy that the GM didn't believe in enough to have him be the starter in year 3, that they went out there and traded for Aaron Rodgers. If you just do the math, they didn't make any moves. I'm not saying they didn't try to, but they did nothing. Like, they did nothing to help this team. One would think that, or you could at least make the argument that maybe he didn't believe in this team or doesn't believe in this team as much as you think he should.
You're a massive Mets fan, so you and Evan and all the great Met fans here and in this city, I don't mean to pierce your heart, but I think this will resonate with what I'm saying today. Here's the pitch to Beltran. Doesn't even take a swing on that Wainwright nasty deuce. Over. Take a swing, Joe.
Right.
Take a swing. Get the bat off your shoulders and take a swing.
He's taking a lot of swings.
And now it's too late.
Hey, but BT.
Yeah, but all the swings he's taken haven't worked out. Let's be honest.
I'm saying,
Hardman's gone. I don't blame him for Rodgers. Hardman's gone. A lot of the things they did have not worked out.
Dalvin Cook. That's what I mean.
Dalvin Cook hasn't worked out.
Coming into the year, the only question mark that I remember you having for this team, we'll get to the calls here in a second. Our friends at Town Fair Tire remind you that at Town Fair Tire, you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. The only issue you had was coming into the season was the offensive line depth. You weren't talking about skill position players. They need this, they need that. Rodgers goes down. All of a sudden, now they need receivers because Hartman hasn't worked out, because Dalvin Cook has been a bust. Like, Joe Douglas shot his shots in the offseason.
He missed a lot, though.
Okay.
That doesn't mean he stopped shooting. So if you're a good shooter, do you get hot by not shooting? Or do you, maybe get a free throw, get a layup, get loose, and a little 5-footer, and then you hit 7 in a row? Got to keep shooting.
Do you double down on your investment where you think that maybe, you know what, it's not our year?
I would.
We'll see if we can find. All right.
I would have. And I love Joe. Disappointed today.
John is calling from Danbury. What's up, John?
I don't know where this blind is coming from for the Jets. In the history of me watching New York sports, I've never seen a fan base be so nice to such a crappy team. And I don't know where it's coming from. I understand the optimism and we want to get there. And listen, they've found a way to win, X amount of times this year. But where is this playoff berth coming from? Where are we thinking that you're going to get a wild card spot?
Oh, look at the standings, John. How about you start there? That's a pretty good spot.
I look at the standings. I also look at your resume. You barely beat a couple of good teams.
Okay.
You almost beat a couple of more good teams, but you also lost to the Patriots.
Okay, dude, that was 6 weeks ago, bro.
Game. I just Sal, I'm in total agreement with you too. Like where is this coming from? Like it's delusional to me almost.
Yeah. I'm getting tired of that word, dude. The word delusional, now it's bothering me.
Thank you for the
because
call.
It's not applicable, dude. I don't know if you know what the word delusional means. The word delusional to me, and I think others who can read and write, what it means is that you have an expectation of something that is so completely unrealistic that the circumstances in front of you can lead nowhere near what you are espousing. Well, that's my definition, loosely interpreted. Are they 2-5? Are they 2-6? Are they 3-5? Are they 3-6? They are 4-3. And mark my words, they're going to win again on Monday night.
But that's your prediction, and hoping you've been pretty good at that so far.
Yeah,
I'm not going to take away from it. But here's the definition of delusion. This is according to dictionary.com. Having false or unrealistic beliefs or opinions. I mean, you're not seeing...
Wait. Okay, can you read that again?
Having false or unrealistic beliefs or opinions.
Okay, so... I'm not only going to read that to you, I'm going to have that bronzed on some sort of plaque that's going to hang in our office. And the next time over the next 10, 12, 15, however many years, you are screaming like a madman, which I will respect. For the Mets to go out and make a trade deadline move when they're a game and a half out of the wild card, I'm going to say, Sal, go look at that plaque. You're delusional.
Well,
but you won't be because you're within shouting distance.
Well, don't you think, and this is, remember, I came up with this theory that the Jet fan is the most delusional fan in sports right now, certainly in New York. This was last week or 2 weeks ago. But all fans are delusional at times. It's good.
Oh, yeah, no, I embrace my delusion.
It could be healthy to be delusional.
This isn't delusional.
But part of the problem with delusion is that you're not aware when you are delusional.
No,
I don't think you are.
I am. Listen, I'm looking for a car right now, all right? I got about 3 weeks to figure this thing out. Jesus, drive me insane.
We've been talking about this for months.
Between you and the house, me and the car, time's ticking, bro. Delusional would be for me to look out and, I'm going out and I'm trying to find a $397,000 sports car, which honestly I can't afford. I can't justify that. That's delusion.
Right.
Talking about strengthening the core of a team that is 4-3. I'm not even going to yell about this anymore. Like if this comes across as delusional to some, that's fine. You could keep. Hey. If you ain't hating, we ain't popping.
I get all that.
We ain't popping.
But
keep hating.
You did say look at the standings, right? And that's something that cannot be disputed because that is factual, hard evidence.
So then how is that delusion if fact is incorporated?
If the playoffs ended today, would the Jets be in it?
They're half a game out, basically.
You said half a game what?
Yeah, no, I know.
Half
literally
a game out.
So again, the plaque, when the Mets were game and a half out.
I get it.
You're going to look, Rangers, I need somebody on the power play. Sal, you're not going to win the Stanley Cup this year. I don't want to hear it.
I'm a Met fan. I know all about delusion.
The Knicks need somebody off the bet net. Not going to win the championship this year, Sal. Don't want to hear about it, buddy. Can't make any moves.
I know.
Delusional.
I know all about delusion.
This delusional nonsense is starting to get on my last nerve.
I love it.
It is.
Joe is in Brooklyn. What's up, Joe?
Okay, every fan is delusional to some degree. But every year you start the season and you're delusional that you think they're going to win the Stanley Cup or the the Super Bowl
Right.
or whatever. But I have a problem with Sal sometimes. I think he tries to use reverse psychology because he said the Yankees were going to make the playoffs when they weren't playing good. He put the jinx on. He's like a big jinx.
It's Salvi the Mush.
And he's and I don't understand. BT, how do you put up with that guy? I don't understand. I used to like him at night and overnight, but now he's getting a little.
Well, right here, you could just talk to me.
Yeah,
you don't have to.
yeah,
Now, listen, you got a lot of good points and everything, but first of all, at 4-3, the Jets are. They didn't even play good yet, and they got 4 wins.
Yep.
Well, so we agree. They haven't even played well yet, right?
So wait till they start playing well.
Right.
Maybe they'll
Well,
get it
when's that
together.
going to happen? What week exactly?
Well, the Rome wasn't built in a day.
Okay.
First of all, everybody's concept was Aaron Rodgers. So Zach Wilson, this poor kid who they throw into the Lions den when he first comes, no help, no backup, no starting quarterback in front of him to learn to. Now you throw this kid in there. On one play, he's throwing ground balls into the thing. I could throw like that into the ground. And the next day, he's Patrick Mahomes running across the field with 26 seconds and making great plays. Nobody's perfect all the time. But you gotta be delusional if you're a fan. You want to believe that your team's going to win.
Well, that's a different argument. I agree with you, Joe.
Joe,
and
thanks
you
for the call. Sal, I have another question for you that
Yeah.
I ask every single time this comes up.
Mm-hmm.
Name the team in the AFC that the New York Jets cannot beat.
Right, but I'll counter with what I do all the time.
Okay,
Name
here we
the
go.
teams.
It's the circle dance that we always do here.
We
understand.
can
Go
name
ahead.
the teams that are definitively better than they are.
And okay, so give me the definitively being the operative word. Definitively is a strong word,
I think
brother.
there's only
it's a
one.
strong word.
I think there's only one that we would disagree on.
Okay.
So Chiefs.
What?
You don't. Come on. You don't think that
They almost beat them,
dude?
Dude, what?
Almost doesn't count.
No. By the way, the Jets scored.
What is it? Yeah,
horseshoes and hand grenades, and having a Jets debate with Sal almost doesn't count. They almost beat them, and
come on. If you
and
can't,
they just lost to the Broncos,
All right,
who
but-
the Jets beat.
Well, no. I didn't say who they can't beat.
You said, yeah, you
better
did.
than. I'm saying who's
we're gonna
better
play
than.
well, of course the Chiefs
Because-
are better.
Oh, okay. Well, that's all.
But that's why I use the word
argument.
who you think they cannot beat.
Well, they
because
beat the
somebody can
Eagles,
be
so-
better and you can still beat them.
All right.
Eagles better than the Jets. Jets beat them.
Right, understood. But that means on any given Sunday, and I agree with that any team can beat anybody else.
Yeah, but the Giants, I know it's a different kind, are not going into Arrowhead and winning. The Jets have a chance. That's my point. All right, anyway, Kansas City. We totally disagree. Next, who else?
Well, how do
Who
we
else?
disagree? You don't think Kansas City's better than the Jets?
I think that they're better, but I think
that's
I
what I
just
wanna-
watched them play 60 minutes, and it was pretty
Hold
freaking
on.
close.
I'm going to agree with you here. There aren't any teams that the Jets, and I would say that most other teams can't beat on any given day.
Okay.
That's not a
I'm doing the whole
compliment to
Hogan
the
ear
Jets.
thing because
I
I'm
hear you.
expecting
I'm
more.
looking
Come
at
on,
you.
feed to the crowd. Let's go.
Now, let's go over the teams that I want to hear you say.
Go ahead.
And this is going to be a test
Gotcha.
of delusion.
Okay. Ooh.
I want to hear the teams you say are better than the Jets in the AFC alone.
That I think are absolutely better
than
without debate, unequivocally
Right.
better.
There's probably one that we're going to disagree on at least.
And I know it's the Buffalo Bills.
That is correct.
Okay, now that is delusional since, I don't know, the Jets beat them.
But you're fair. No, you're fair.
Well, then you got to change your tune. If you say that I'm fair, you got to change your opinion
let's
on
go
that.
over the teams that we don't disagree with
Go
to
ahead.
date, based on what we've seen this year.
Who's absolutely better than the Jets
Are
right
the
now?
Chiefs better than the Jets?
Slightly.
Are the Dolphins better than the Jets?
Don't know. I don't know how that style's going to play up when it's snowing and when it's 22
I
degrees
said
out.
right now, based on right now.
Okay, Dolphins are a tough
Jesus,
team.
we got two. Jaguars. Come on, dude. You know the answer to this.
What?
The Jaguars, are they better than the Jets, yes or no?
Based on the record, sure. Do I think the Jets
three.
can win? Yes.
We're squeezing
Oh,
them
yeah,
out.
that's your three. I'm really at one,
Baltimore.
but anyway.
Baltimore.
I mean, Jets almost beat them last year,
Oh,
dude.
my Dude, so can we cut this tape and play it back? Actually, you can check it out
we've
on
been
the
cutting
free
tape
Odyssey.
since the Unkillable
Free
speech,
Odyssey,
and
yeah.
my side of the tape is looking pretty damn good so far.
You know, I want to play back to you because I want to
Play
have
it back.
you. I want to have you listen to what delusion sounds
Oh,
like.
is that what it is?
The Bengals.
What about them?
You think the Jets are better than the Bengals?
I think the Jets could beat them.
That's a different argument.
But
Are they better than them?
It's not necessary. Like it's a subset of the argument.
The Jets have. I know you're not gonna like this.
Go ahead.
They have one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL right now.
Yet they have one of the most competitive teams in the AFC right now, based on the fact that they won 3
Give 'em
straight,
credit.
getting ready for 4.
And the difference,
So
I
what
guess,
are we
that we
doing?
have, the difference that we have is that you believe it's sustainable because they
Yes.
could either get better or at least continue to do this.
I don't think they're getting worse. Do you think they're going to get worse? Okay, let
No,
me
I
ask
think
you this.
reality is going to strike. They're fortunate. They just got beat by the Giants, for God's
Wait,
sake.
they lost
with
that
a
game?
third-string
They got beat.
quarterback.
Wait, they got beat. You just said they lost. They got
I
beat.
mean,
that
they
game?
did. You watched the game.
They lost.
They got outplayed the entire game. 24 freaking seconds to go. The Giants couldn't close them out.
Yep.
They had him beat with a third-string quarterback. The Giants, one of the worst teams in the league, with a third-string quarterback who couldn't throw the football, had the big, bad, almighty Jets beat.
Who won the game?
Yeah, the Jets, you're right.
So
Super Bowl.
Who won? Well, I find it very interesting, convenient as well, that you point out, like, when the Jets win a close game, a magical game, a game of 50, a wacky game, we point to the officials, or we point to the circumstances or luck, whatever. When they lose a game where they got bent over on national TV, you just gloss over that. I find that interesting.
I gave them credit. They're 4-3. They've done a great job. But, look, don't blame me. Your general manager didn't believe in his team enough to go out there and make a move. He didn't. That's the facts. Whatever the reasons may be, he didn't go out there and make a move in what could have been a very, a surprising year for this team with great opportunity out there in front of them. We'll continue with your calls on the other side, get to the Giants aspect of things as well, not making any moves outside of the Leonard Williams a couple of days ago.